everyone is different. You're having a really bad day and things don't look right. And you call the office and you say, I just don't know what to do anymore. I would tell you that that is not how it was meant to be. And it's not fair for you to go through life living a difficult life. But a lot of people that live in our parish don't realize that we're there, or don't know that you don't have to have insurance to go there. You can go there and we work strictly on your income. You could pay $2 to come in and see a doctor, to see a therapist. We have an anxiety group. We have a parenting group. You would be very comfortable being there. You can come in and we can talk to you and we can comfort you. We can be friends. We can understand. We can listen to what your problems are and what has caused you to feel the way that you feel. In the end, you would be very pleased that you ended up there. I've said it once before, but I'll say it again. It's more fulfilling than anything else that job could possibly give me, by seeing a patient or a child or an adult's life completely turned around. That's a good day. Hi, my name is Lisa Lopez, and I'm a nurse at the Ascension Counseling Center.
Hello everyone, I'm Lisa Weber Curry, Manager of Clinical Services at Ascension Counseling Center. You're watching Ascension Counseling Center's video newsletter, where we talk about the services we offer and how you can benefit from them. Thanks for joining us. In this episode, we'll talk about relationship habits for couples to grow more intimate and closer while experiencing a deeper connection. Stay with us for the next half hour or so. We'll be right back after this message.
Ascension Parish, a parish steeped in tradition. It's a place where generations of families have continued to enjoy a lifestyle that centers on community living and community celebration. It's a place where we care about each other and we care about ourselves. For more than 50 years, the Ascension Counseling Center has continued the tradition of helping individuals and families change behaviors and change lives. The Ascension Counseling Center.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. Hello, Suzanne.
Hi, Lisa.
How are you today?
Doing well.
Good. We got another hot topic.
We do. Today we are going to talk about relationship habits for couples. And as you said, it's designed to help them grow more intimate, closer to each other, and have a deeper connection. And so we want to let our listeners know that the ideas we're going to talk about are actually from a book. And I know after we get started and after we talk about some of these things, you're really going to want to know more about it. Mm-hmm. So if you want to read more about it and get more in-depth information than what we're able to give you in this time, then you want to look for the book that's called Mindful Relationship Habits. And it's written by S.J. Scott and Barry Davenport. You can get it on Amazon, in Kindle, or in paper format, and it really is worth your while.
Great. And it's important to note this information will be provided as well.
We'll show you, again, the name at the end of the program.
Okay, great. So let's get started. We all know how it is to start out with an interest in someone. You find out they're interested in you, and you go out on a date. What happens when we first start out?
Well, we put our best foot forward. Mm-hmm. We try to look our best. We try to sound our best. We are interested in that other person. We're attracted to them. Mm-hmm. We listen to everything they have to say. And you know, when we're in the beginning of a relationship, we only want to be with each other all the time. Nothing else, nobody else matters.
Right.
We really are focused on each other. And you know, we try to be our best. And we also are interested in their hobbies and their interests and the sports. How many people sit and watch a football game? How many women watch a football game when they're dating, and then after you're married, you never do it again?
Right.
And how many men are willing to go and watch a romantic comedy at the movies and then never go to that again after you're married? So really what we're talking about is that when we're first together and we're infatuated or in love, we really put a lot of effort into our relationship.
Yes.
Now, Fast forward 5, 10, 15 minutes or years later, and not so much.
Right.
We are a little bit more pulled away from each other and a little bit more disconnected. We find ourselves spending more time focusing on the kids, their activity, work, our own individual hobbies, maybe watching TV too much,
Right.
maybe on social media. Some people would say my spouse just gets on the phone and
Yeah.
chats and emails and texts the whole time, or you know, even getting on playing video games and not having time. We even
yes.
actually have kids who say, you know, my dad won't even look at me or talk to me or play
Right.
with me. He just plays video games.
Mm-hmm.
So really what I'm talking about is over time, our relationship kind of stalls
Yeah.
and we don't really know what to do about it. So that's what
Yeah.
we're going to talk about
Okay.
today. What do you do about it when you feel really distant or disconnected from your partner?
Yeah, because after a while, the relationship can take a shift. And most couples will tell you, I don't even know when that shift took place.
Absolutely.
I'm just realizing that. I've gone out to dinner and seen couples where they spend the whole time, each one, on their cell phones, on social media.
They don't
No
even speak.
conversations taking place. They eat, they get up, walk out, and you have to wonder, was that a couple or was that a business meeting? So yeah, it's
Yes.
a difference. Okay, so you're going to teach us today about how to make those relationships healthy again.
That's right. We're going to talk about several ways to do that. And before we get into that, I think it's really important for us to know the value of a healthy, happy relationship. And research has shown us that there are actually some benefits.
There's a
Not
lot of
just feeling,
research.
you know, unhappy, but
Yes.
yes, there is some research. And some of the things that are benefits of having a loving, caring relationship or having better health. So people actually live longer and have a lower risk of disease if
Yes.
they're in a happy relationship. They're going to drink less, they're going to smoke less, and they're going to eat healthier
Yeah.
than if they're alone or if they're in an healthy relationship.
Yeah, because a lot of times your partner will support you in eating healthier, spending time with you, and that takes away from the loneliness and the need or the cravings to go and drink or eat because you're bored or lonely. So definitely healthier.
The other thing, as I've already mentioned, is that living a longer life. It's been shown that married couples are 15 to 20% less likely to die prematurely than the general population.
That's significant.
does. That is significant.
Yeah.
We want to be in that group. And so
Yeah.
healthy marriage is going to contribute
To a
that.
longer, healthier life, because it's not just enough to live longer.
That's
you want to
correct.
be healthy as
Exactly.
well.
Exactly. Another thing is it's been shown that people who are in healthier marriages have more wealth. So they
Okay.
actually make more money or have more money. And so people who get married and stay married usually have double the wealth of people who are single or unhappily married. Now this has a little bit to do with the fact that if you're in a happy relationship, you're going to be more grounded.
Right.
You're going to have clearer goals of what you
Uh-huh.
want to accomplish. You're going to have a partner who supports your goals or your dreams. You want to go to college, that's going to increase your income. Your
Right.
partner's going to support that if you're in a
Yeah.
healthy relationship.
Okay.
And so when we say that it's double the income, we're not just talking about because you're married and you have two incomes.
Right.
Each individual in a happy marriage is going to double the wealth that they
Yeah.
have.
And wealth in more ways than one, because when we talk about wealth, most people think we're talking about income. But you are better educated, you've got somebody to help and support you while you're going to school. You've got another decision maker in the house with the decisions that come along. So there's wealth in more than one way.
Yes, and so increased wealth, better mental health.
Yes.
People who are not in a happy marriage, either they're in an unhappy marriage or they're single, are more likely to experience loneliness and depression. And so people who are happily married are more likely to be happy
Yes.
and to be feel connected to other people, which the research on depression even shows us that the two primary symptoms or characteristics of people who are depressed is One is that they have really negative thinking patterns. They're always thinking the worst is going to happen. But the other one is that they don't have very many close connected relationships.
And that's so important.
So there is a direct relationship
Yeah.
between depression and having positive relationships. And in this case, we're talking about happy marriages.
Right. I mean, connection is the key. We're humans that were built for connection.
Yes.
It just makes such a positive impact on our lives. You also talk about one of the other benefits of a healthy relationship is increased happiness.
Just being happier in general. You're going to be happier with yourself, with your partner, with your circumstances, and with your life. And how many people have come into counseling and said, I just want to be happy.
Yeah, I just want my joy back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we have to help them identify what that means to them,
Exactly.
because happiness is just a very vague term.
Yeah,
But
it's fleeting.
in general, yes, happiness is increased when you're in a good, solid, connected relationship.
Okay.
Another thing is you're going to have a more satisfying sex life when you're in a committed, close, intimate relationship with your partner. And then your children are going to be happier and more successful in life if their parents have a happy, close, committed relationship.
Yeah.
And Lisa, how many times have we seen people come in and have a poor relationship? They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to talk about their feelings. They don't know how to, handle it when they're angry, because they never saw their parents
Right.
do
They
that.
saw the total opposite, or they actually saw no feelings or emotions being expressed at all. You know,
And even in our family, Mark and I, or my husband and I, we're just like, if we pass each other in the hallway, we just kind of pat each other, or
Yeah.
And we had a family member there one time who noticed us doing that, and they said, "Oh, that's so cute." They had never
Yeah.
seen that in their own home.
Yeah.
That just touching and just closeness.
Right.
And so, if you don't see that in your home, you're not going to know that other people do
Exactly.
that. And so,
Yeah.
if you want your children to be happier, more successful, you have to demonstrate that in your own relationships.
Because no matter what we tell our children, they actually do what they see us do. That's just human nature. We can say things over and over, but when people actually see it in action, it sticks with them and it reminds them to do it. So
And how many parents say don't smoke while they smoke?
Exactly.
Don't drink while they drink, And so,
Yeah.
it loses its power.
it does. It
That
really
message
does.
loses its power.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so now we're going to move on to what to do to bring our relationships back to a healthy, intimate status.
And if you'll notice in the book, there are 25 things.
Okay.
We don't have time for that today,
Right.
so we're going to cover 10 of them. And
Okay.
then maybe we'll do another show, or maybe we'll
And
just
cover
rely on people to purchase the book.
Okay.
But the first one is prioritize relationship meetings. And by what I mean by this is you and your partner have to make it intentional and give it the highest priority to say that you are going to meet together on a regular basis to talk about your relationship, how your relationship's doing, what might not be working, that it needs to be changed. Some people simply call this date night and go out to eat, just the two of them, once a week. So it doesn't matter what you call it, but it does matter that you talk about the two of you. And it doesn't count if you're talking about the kids or family problems or work
Right.
and or schoolwork or anything else like that. What we're talking about is time where the two of you sit and talk about each other and your relationships. What do you need from me? What can I do for you?
What can I do
hurt you?
differently?
Yes, what can I do
Yes.
differently? What hurt you? What can I change? And
Right.
so it's important that you make that happen, because it's not going to happen if you don't plan it and be intentional about it. Something else is going to
Take
come up.
priority over it
Yes,
if
something
we
else.
don't do it.
So you
definitely.
really need to put it on your calendar,
Right.
put it on your schedule. If you're forgetful, you prompt each other and you make sure that you get it done.
It's important. And initially, I think we need to let our viewers know, initially it's going to feel awkward.
Yes.
You have to push through the awkwardness and continue to meet, and it's going to come to a place where it's second nature. Hey, it's our meeting time. You're going to be sitting there waiting to meet with your spouse. But you have to push through the awkwardness and continue on.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's a wonderful point. You know, people need to realize anytime there's any kind of lifestyle changes, it's going to be difficult.
Right.
And we kind of liken it to any kind of a skill. The first time you baked a cake, you had to read every single step.
Sometimes twice.
Yes,
Just to get
and so,
through
you know, but eventually you got to the point where you can do it without reading the directions because you're so used to doing it. And so that's how any kind of lifestyle change is. It's going to be difficult. You're going to forget. You're not really going to do it well, but you keep doing it until you do get it to work well.
Exactly. Okay, so we need to learn emotional intelligence. Tell us what you mean by that.
All right, and what we mean by that is you need to learn to express your own emotions.
Okay.
And so many of us have difficulty identifying and labeling our emotions. And a lot of times what we do is, and I know you're doing this at home because we all do it and it's human nature. A lot of times we express our emotions behaviorally. So if we're angry, we might slam a door, all right? And so, and that's okay, except that what we need to do is learn how to say to our partner, you know, I'm really angry right now, and I need to work through it. And so learning to identify and express our emotions verbally, and that's easier for your partner to hear than slamming a door.
Yeah.
You know,
slamming a door, yelling, screaming, walking away without saying, hey, I'm upset right now, just give me a few moments. And I think people become afraid of their emotions because they think anger is a negative emotion, it's bad. All emotions are fine. It's what we do with those emotions and how we handle those emotions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, even some people, you have trouble expressing the positive emotions.
Yes.
Some families, they don't say, I love you, or thank you, I appreciate that.
Right.
You know, so appreciation is an emotion. So all of those things we need to learn how to recognize and express.
Yes.
And then we also need to learn how to control them, which is kind of what you've already talked about.
Yeah.
Our emotions get really, they can be really minor, they can be, or they can be really extreme.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that we're kind of right in the middle there somewhere. It's not good if we never experience joy.
Right.
It's maybe not so good if we experience too much joy. So we're almost like manic and can't stop, you know. So we want to be right in the center there. And you know, we've talked about emotions before, that our emotions really originate in our brain. And there's a spot in the brain that's in the very center of the brain, top to bottom, left to right, front to back, very center, that controls our emotions. And so we need to learn how to regulate those. It goes up and down, and we want to begin to learn how to control those emotions so that they're not too high. Because remember, the other thing we say is that the higher the emotion, the more active that part of the brain.
Yeah.
That means the lower the thinking part of your brain is. The part that tells you right from wrong, lets you know something's appropriate, the rational part kind of shrinks up when that emotional piece gets too activated. And so that in and of itself can give you problems. So we need to learn to express our emotions and to control them when they're too intense.
Exactly. And that includes responding to the emotions of others as well.
Absolutely. So that's our own part. But we need to be able to listen to, understand, and respond to our partner's emotions. Now, we always have a problem with that because we take it personally. Why are you angry at me? Well, they may not be angry at you. You know, if you have to drive an hour one way to come home from work and it's the end of the day and you're tired,
traffic's heavy,
you're hungry, the traffic's heavy, you had a little bit of road rage, you walk in the door, you're grumpy, all right? You need to recognize that that's totally 100% about your partner. And it's okay if they're angry. So, you know, you leave them alone, don't hit them with what needs to be fixed or what the kids did wrong. Let them change clothes, everybody have dinner. After that,
then you can bring it back up. And that person will probably have calmed down a lot by then.
That time.
And you can have a meaningful, constructive conversation. I noticed when you came home today, you were really upset. Is there something I can help with? You know, offering up some service to that person shows them that you care, and you're not going to beat them up for walking in the door, angry or upset. You're not going to verbally beat them up with your words. So that's important.
And that's an example of the kind of things that we would talk about in our relationship meeting. So yes, we talk about those, and those are the things. So yes, we need to learn to express and control our own emotions, and we need to understand, listen to, and respond appropriately to our partner's emotions.
Okay, good. And then, so the next step is to create a relationship vision.
Yes, and how many of us just float around in life and we don't really have any goals? So what we're really talking about is a mutual vision of shared goals and shared dreams that both of you make, and you have that together as your relationship goal. And kind of that has to do a little bit with lifestyle. What do you want your relationship to be like? Do you want to be kind of couple that hangs out and has a cup of coffee in the morning, takes day trips on Saturdays or Sundays? What do you want your relationship to be like?
You get to design it.
Yeah, you design that. And remember that even though you have a couple's relationship goal, you still might have a separate family goal, and you still might have separate individual goals. So one of you may have the goal to go back to school or change jobs, get a promotion, something like that. And it's very important whenever you have goals that you set boundaries, rules, guidelines, priorities, and plans for how you're going to achieve that.
Definitely.
And so if you're talking about somebody, maybe you want to buy a vacation home, or maybe you want to save for a nice vacation. The two of you need to talk about how you're going to do that. Are we going to not go out to dinner so much? Are we going to get a $1 movie or watch something on TV rather than going to the movies? And so if you have a goal, you have to have a plan how you're going to reach that, and both of you have to agree to that.
Yeah, and you also, I think, need to add into that the vision, coming back and reassessing. Because you may start out with a vision and you think this is the way to go at it, and as you grow and learn more about each other, maybe more resources are available, you need to go back, or maybe less resources, go back and reassess and adjust your vision as need be. Doesn't have to be a one-time vision. That's why you're a couple growing. Go back and talk about it again. Priority meetings.
Yes.
Go back
and
talk about them.
Those are good topics for your relationship meetings.
Yes.
And I like the fact that you said both of you are growing, because we mature and we change and we grow our entire lifetime. Some people think once I hit 21, this is me and I'm set. But that doesn't happen. And over time, that's one of the things that drives people apart. They kind of begin to have different goals. So it's really important to know each other's goals and share that vision for each other.
Definitely. And so next we're going to lead with respect and kindness.
And this is so important. What we want to look at is, would you talk to somebody else the same way that you talk to your partner? Would you talk to your boss that way, or your mother that way, or a stranger, a police officer? Would you talk to them in the same way? So we need to look at how we're talking to each other. And that is something that, never call each other names. Never curse at each other. Again, these are kind of like boundaries and goals and rules that you have for relationships. We should never be doing anything. Never be critical, like you're a terrible mother, you're a terrible father, you're a terrible provider. All of those things should never happen. We would not speak to anybody else in that way. So we want to always be respectful, always be kind to the other person. Say please and thank you. Everything my husband does, I say thank you. Took out the trash, thank you. Washed the dish, thank you. Because he does so much, and I always want to respect that and what the other person is doing. So it's please and thank
so
you,
important.
and no name calling, and all of those things. Kindness, respect at all times.
It's so important, because even in counseling, when we pose that question to clients, do you speak to your neighbor the way you spoke to your wife or to your spouse in this session? And you can see the light bulb go off. Actually, no, I talk to them with so much respect. well, then this is the person that you see every day that you're building a life with. They need that respect and kindness even more than your neighbor or someone else. So
Absolutely.
it's reminding them and making them aware this is what you're doing and this is what you need to change. So.
And it's just because we kind of drift along and we don't think about it, and we get maybe kind of lazy. And so that's what we're talking about. Be very intentional about changing these behaviors when we see them in ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. We start to just accept things. Oh, this is okay, and we're going to take our spouse for granted.
Absolutely.
But kindness and a simple thank you and please goes a long way, a very long way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so your next step is what in building a healthy
We're gonna
relationship?
Learn to accept our partner for how they are. All right? And so, you know, in the beginning, we really look at our partner as perfect.
Yeah.
They're so perfect for me. They're so great for me.
They can do no wrong.
They can do no wrong. You didn't
Yes.
notice any flaws at all. But over time, you get shocked to learn that your partner has some flaws. And let me say this too. Your partner is just as shocked to find out that you have flaws.
That's right.
So really what we're talking about, and so many times the thing that we loved about our partner when we're dating is the exact thing we find irritating about them after we've been living with them for so many years. So how many times have we heard somebody say, they were so fun-loving and outgoing. I love that. We had so much fun, you know.
Yeah.
Now after they're married, it's like they can't get serious. They can't settle down.
We've got
I can't
kids
get 'em
now.
to make
We've
a
got
decision.
responsibilities.
Yeah, I can't make them be responsible.
Yeah.
All they want to do is go out. They never want to be home. These are, so we need to look at the things that we're complaining about now. Are they the same things that our partner was doing before? We married them when they were there that way. And so what we really need to look at is they haven't changed, but we have. Our perception of what we expect from them has changed. And so we need to recognize that if they were outgoing and fun-loving before, they're going to be that way now. And we need to accept that that's how it is. Now, I'm not talking about accepting extremely harmful and hurtful or abusive behavior.
Very important.
That should
That's
never
not
be tolerated.
Exactly.
But personality and behaviors and habits and things like that, you know.
Telling jokes that you thought were so funny when you were first dating, now you're saying, just don't tell me another joke. Please don't
That's
tell
right.
me another
You know,
joke.
We need to find a way to find the humor in that.
Right.
My dad told the exact same jokes his entire life. We heard the same ones over and over and over. What we found funny, we laughed every single time because he would tell that story again and he would laugh every time. We were able to find humor in that, and so we never got tired of hearing those same jokes, but we all laughed because he laughed so hard every single time.
And it drew you all closer to each other and being able to share that moment.
So we do need to accept and learn acceptance for each other and expect it back for ourselves as well.
That's very important. It goes both ways. Okay, and along with that, we also need to cherish our partner.
It's an old-fashioned word. We don't hear it very often, but to cherish means to hold something dear. It means to feel or show affection, and it means to keep something or cultivate it with care and affection, or to entertain or harbor something in your mind or in your heart. And so those are things, you need to view your partner as the most special person in the world to you. And so that's what to cherish means. And so we need to look at and value and cherish and love and treat with affection our partner.
Because when we cherish something, we will protect it from harm at all costs. We will keep it safe. We will keep it shined, put on display, and let people see this is something that means the world to me. And so if we can think of our partners that way, it can make such a difference.
Yes. And you know, we see people on airplanes with something that they're really cautious about, and they didn't put it in their luggage. They have it in a little tote bag, and they're very careful, and they won't put it up on the top. That's how our relationships needs to be. And my husband told me the other day I was having a little conflict with something. He said, "You want me to take care of this?" He was demonstrating that he was cherishing and caring for me. He was willing to stand between me and that problem and take care of it
because
for me.
he refuses to let any harm come to you, and that's so important.
Yeah, and that's so very important. Both males and females, males need this as well.
Yes.
They need to be cherished. You need to cherish your spouse.
Yeah, definitely. And then we need to do something that you kind of talked about earlier, touch often.
We just need to touch each other. It could be a hug, cuddle, a kiss, just a gentle pat on the arm when we pass each other, or just throughout the day, or at the end of the day. It could be a neck rub, a foot rub, anything like that. Physical affection is so important in closeness. And if you notice, we've been talking about being close emotionally, being close behaviorally, and so we need to do that physically
as well. It's very important.
Yeah, and so it's, actually not having enough physical contact is tied with poor communication as the number one reason that couples come in for counseling.
Right.
And people have different levels of touch that they're comfortable with. Some people will just hang on each other in public, and other people will stand that close to each other and not touching in public.
Right.
They just have, people are just comfortable with different levels of physical touch. So it's something, again, in your relationship meeting to negotiate.
Right. Because
and
you know what your need is, and you need to express that in those meetings to make sure your needs are met and understand what your partner's needs are physically as well when it comes to touch.
And there are some gender differences, not always, but often. Men feel more connected to their partner if they have physical touch.
Yes.
Women, and they feel more emotionally connected.
Yeah.
Women are more likely to feel more comfortable with physical connection if they feel emotionally connected. So we need to know that there is a little bit of gender difference, but it's something that we can both challenge ourselves to step up a little
Yes,
bit.
we can. I mean, if we just remember that, just as you said, there's gender differences, and I've heard women say so many times, he never said good morning to me, he didn't check on me during the day, and then at night he's touching me. Well, I can't receive that because I didn't have the emotional connection. And then you will hear men say the total opposite.
Yes.
So if we realize that and then talk about it in our meetings and learn to give each other what we need to be healthy and whole, relationships can go a lot farther.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's something to negotiate at your relationship meeting and talk about, what do I need?
Yes.
And the other person can say, well, here's what I can give you.
Yeah.
So touching often is a good way to stay connected with each other.
Simple pat, touch,
Yep.
acknowledge, I see you. We may not be having a conversation right now, but I want you to know I see you.
And you could sit side by side touching each other, watching TV. You don't even have to have a conversation. That's
Right.
physical touch that's going to go a long way to helping you feel connected.
Very good. So, and we should look to connecting and engaging daily. This should be a daily process.
It should be a daily thing, not once a week, not once in a while, but spending one-on-one time together with each other every day. And you can use it as a time to talk about your hopes and dreams and your relationship, or you can just talk about your concerns for the day.
Yeah.
Anything but that has you sitting together or standing together and touching base and communicating with each other on a daily basis.
Yes.
And that means just being fully present with your partner. You're listening, you're making eye contact, you're reflecting back, you're paying attention without being distracted or preoccupied. And how
Very
many people
important.
are playing on their phone while their partner is talking to them, trying to
Right.
tell them something? How many times have couples said, one of them will say, "You never told me that." And the
Right.
other one says, "Yes, I did. I told you that last week." That tells us that we're not communicating, we're not paying attention.
Someone's not
Somebody was
actively
preoccupied.
engaged. Yes.
And so if you've had that conversation a lot, "You never told me that," then it needs to let that person who's unaware know that they need to pay attention.
Yeah.
But it means the speaker, the other person, needs to make sure they have that other person's attention.
That's
make
very
sure that they're
important, too.
making eye contact.
Yeah.
Ask them, "What did I just say?" And have them repeat it back so that they'll know. And so connecting on a day-to-day basis. And it could be very simple things. It could be something like giving each other a kiss goodbye when you're walking out the door, or it could be when the other person comes home, the second person to come home. You stop what you're doing, you go greet them at the door.
Yeah,
And
very
make
important.
eye contact and say, welcome home. So just even little connectedness like that will go a long way.
Yeah, everybody wants to feel when they walk in their home that the party that's there is so excited about seeing them.
Yes.
So just a minute or so to say, hey babe, I'm so glad you made it home safely. Getting ready to start dinner, whatever it is, but just acknowledging that person coming in. And I think I've noticed over the years in counseling, people have gotten away from that eye-to-eye contact.
Yes.
They talk to each other while they're looking this way or looking that way. That is so
Whatever.
important.
Yes.
Yeah. So we got to get back to eye-to-eye contact.
In fact, in our house, you know, we have 2 cats, and one of our cats runs to the door as soon as he hears the garage door open. And so, you know, and as funny as it sounds, it just makes you feel good.
Yeah,
That
'cause
somebody was so happy to see you come home. And in fact, our joke
Exactly.
at home is, how come the cat got to me before you? You know?
Exactly.
And so, yeah,
Yeah.
it just, when somebody is happy to see you come home, it makes all the difference. It lifts your mood, and
Right.
it'll set a tone for the rest of the evening.
Yes. Very good. So we also need to work on creating shared rituals.
Yeah, and a ritual is just a practice or a pattern of behaviors that you regularly perform in the same manner. And, you know, we think about holidays because we all have rituals pretty much during the holiday. But it could be reading aloud in bed at night, reading to your partner, or cooking something together, or having coffee together in the morning, or a glass of wine on the porch in the afternoon or in the evening, or it can be walking together. All of those are rituals, something that you do on a regular basis every day with your partner.
Yeah.
And those are really important things. So beginning to share a ritual with your partner, something that you do, and it's another way to connect.
It is. And I hear so many couples now say, oh, our TV show comes on tonight. Don't you watch it without me. You know we watch it
Yes.
together so we can talk about it afterwards.
That's a ritual.
And it's a healthy one because you
Yes.
spend time together, then you spend time talking about it afterwards. So
And I think that's a really good point that you're making, that you don't just watch that TV show together, but you discuss it.
Yeah.
And, you know, so many times couples say, well, we just don't have anything to talk about with each other anymore.
Yeah.
We've kind of said it all, done it all. We don't want to talk about work when we get together. That's all I do is work. I think even, you know, I mean, I knew a couple and he would listen to National Public Radio every day so that when he got home, they would have things to talk about. So watching the news or watching a TV program, all of those are things that you can now discuss. What did you think about that?
Right.
You know, would you do that in that situation? Was that the
Yeah.
right thing to do? Does that violate our values? You know,
yeah.
anything at all like that you could talk about after a program.
Yeah.
And you know,
It opens up for discussion. It's really good to have those conversations with each other. So yeah, that's a good thing. And I always think about, I'll tell couples, you find something to talk about your colleagues with, you know, you guys sit and you have a conversation at lunch, you talk about things, then bring some of those things home and discuss with your spouse. We can figure out something to talk
Yes.
about. There's enough going on in the world.
you can even buy books that are discussion questions for couples.
Right.
You know, and so it just gives you a question to answer, and it can
Yeah.
open up discussion for couples.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So our last step we're going to talk about today, but it's by no means the last step in the book. It's just the last one we're going to talk about today. Practice vulnerability
Being vulnerable is a scary thing for people.
for everyone.
Yes. And it's with your partner. Your partner and your home should be your safe place. If it's not, think it through about why.
Yeah.
If you can't make it safe, then maybe you need to leave that
Yeah.
relationship. But you might be able to make it safe. It might be safe and you just may not recognize it. Really what we're talking about is, can you share your deepest secrets, your most embarrassing mistakes, your most painful insecurities with your partner, and know that your partner will not ridicule you or reject you? Because when you're able to share that woundedness on the inside of you, it means you're truly open. Your chest is open, your heart is open, and you let that person see your fears, your woundedness, see into your soul, to the things that have shaped you to be who you are.
Yes.
Now, most of us has been trained not to share these things because we're afraid, or we are afraid the other person's going to use it against us and harm us, and maybe in some relationships they have.
Yeah.
But you're going to look at your partner right now as a separate, different person from the people who have used your woundedness against you in the past. And if you can't be truly authentic, if you can share the positive strengths about yourself, but not the weaknesses, you're never going to allow your partner to fully know you and know who you are and what your needs are. Very important to be vulnerable, but it's a very scary thing, and I recognize that. But vulnerability fosters trust, it heals your wounds, and it creates bonds. And so those are very important things to be able to do. Now, I know that some of the things that we've talked about today, you may not feel like you have the skills to be able to do it, you and your partner alone.
Right.
Like to be vulnerable, to share your woundedness, to control your anger, or not take your partner's anger personally. Some of these things you may not be able to do on your own, just you and your partner. That's where counseling comes in. That's where we at Ascension Counseling Center can help you. And we actually do have couples that come in, and sometimes they have issues, and whenever they leave the session, they argue about it. We may set a boundary for you. You can't discuss this topic at home at all.
Because
We're
you
doing
haven't
it
gotten
here.
to that place.
Yes, where you can do it without it getting out of
Right.
control. And so we are going to construct a structure for you where you can discuss it and you won't get wounded and you won't get hurt. We are a neutral third party who's going to be able to help you. We have the skills to know how to do this. We're not scared of anger, unforgiveness, frustration, anything like that. We have the skills. We know how to help you with that. We know how to help you not be overwhelmed by your grief. And so all of these things, you can come in individually, or you can come in with your partner, and we will help you to be able to address these issues.
Yes.
If they are preventing you from having that true connectedness. We work all the time with couples who say, we have nothing together, we're just living parallel lives and we don't
We're roommates,
touch.
essentially.
Yeah, we're roommates, that's what they'll say.
Yeah.
And we have the skills to be able to help you to be able to change that.
Yeah, and I think with vulnerability, it's so important that when your partner is being vulnerable with you, that you don't ridicule them, you don't laugh or joke about it, that you accept what they're saying and you're supportive, because if you provide that support and caring environment, they're going to continue to share with you and open up, and then you're going to feel safe enough to do it with them. And the only thing that comes out of that is a healthier relationship.
Yes. And if your partner is sharing some vulnerability with you and you recognize you don't know how to handle it, that's totally fine too.
Yeah.
Admit that. Be honest with them and say, I'm hearing what you're saying. You're very wounded. I don't exactly know how to respond or help you, but I'm here for you.
Exactly.
And that may be enough for them.
Yeah. Or I may need you to share a little bit more to help me understand what you're saying to me. Give me a little time to process it. But all that's a part of growing a healthy relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, this has been a really interesting topic. I have a feeling that we'll be coming back to the other 15
I think we
points.
will.
Yeah, because it's very important. So again, Suzanne, thank you, and thank you for all this this wealth of information you've shared
You're
with us
welcome,
today.
and thank you, Lisa, for, we don't get to say it enough, but Lisa, she mentioned she's a clinical manager, and she's the one who supervises all of the counselors in the building. And anytime they get stuck or have any questions, they go to her, and she just gives them wise advice. I hope our listeners or viewers can see that in you every
Thank
week.
you.
So I think we try to do a really good job of working together and giving a good program. But
Right.
I want everybody to know that that really transcends into the clinic. That as you see her here, that's how she is with our staff. that's how she is with everyone who comes in to see us. And so we think we have an excellent staff who's very responsive to the community's needs. Come in and meet us and see for yourself.
Because we are here for you guys, definitely.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely. Thank you, Suzanne. And thanks to you, our viewers, for spending your time with us for this episode of Ascension Counseling Center's video newsletter. Remember, you can catch replays of the program exclusively on Ascension 21 on the days and times listed on your screen, and anytime on Ascension 21's YouTube channel. We hope today's information will help change your life for the better. That's our goal at Ascension Counseling Center, for our programs to help change lives. Remember, Ascension Counseling Center is here by way of your support. We're funded by a 2-mil property tax millage, which means that $2 from every $1,000 you pay in taxes goes to support our agency, so we can provide free and low-cost mental health and substance abuse outpatient services to residents of Ascension. We're located in Gonzales at 1112 Southeast Ascension Complex Boulevard, off Worthy Road, across from the courthouse and next to the health unit. You can reach us by calling 225-450-1016. You can also find us on the web at ascensionparish.net/MH and on Facebook at Ascension Counseling Center. You can also hear us on KKAY AM 1590 every Tuesday from 10 to 10:30 a.m. Thanks for your support, and until next time, from everyone at Ascension Counseling Center, thank you for watching.
We see a lot of children that are actually being raised by their grandparents. There are so many resources that we can help you with to help you figure out what to do with this child, to help this child understand what his goal in life is. Having one little boy come in and hate his life and have a scowl on his face and not want to be there, and then a month or so later befriend him and come in and smile at me and talk to me and give me a hug, which those children don't do that very often. So by having that hug rewards me more than any paycheck that a person could give me. It's more fulfilling than anything else that job could possibly give me, by seeing a patient or a child or an adult's life completely turned around. Hi, my name is Lisa Lopez, and I'm a nurse at the Ascension Counseling Center.